But as an example, so this is kind of where I know it felt like a little bit like a...
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, we could hear something in the background there, but I think it's gone, so I'll start again. Hi, welcome, thank you for joining us. My name's Rachel Grunwald, and I'm the Director of Programming at JW3. I'm speaking to you live from exotic Finchley Central, and I'll shortly be joined by Richard Ferrer, Editor of the Jewish News, just down the road in North Finchley. Last week I spoke about how we're experimenting, and today we're doing a very direct experiment, which is that I'm going to try and bring in, not just yet, but I'm going to try and bring in a couple of my colleagues on a Zoom webinar to talk to you about what we're doing at JW3. I must repeat what I said last week, which is that we're experimenting, you're experimenting with us, and I do hope this works. So it's been another busy week at JW3. In addition to functioning as a food bank and cooking hot meals to deliver direct to people in need, we also started to serve as the local hub for all other food banks, taking in a massive 4.5 tons of food delivered by an Arsenal Football Club Foundation lorry, which gives me some pain, but I must give credit where it's due. And we're now going to be storing that food and making sure that it gets to other local food banks. And I feel huge gratitude and pride that JW3 is able to help out in this way, but my feelings are very mixed, because the fact that many people are in need is in itself really chastening and humbling. And I know that when we speak to Richard shortly, he'll be talking about the mental health edition of the Jewish News this week, and how also his pride and pleasure at what we are doing is shadowed by the amount of need there is. So let's see if we can bring in my colleagues Chloe Kimmel, our families programmer, and Joe Hyman, our young adult programmer. Chloe and Joe, can you join me? Oh, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Chloe. Hello, Joe. Joe, what a fantastic background you have there. Almost like the moon is being revealed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Chloe and Joe to talk a little bit about highlights coming up. But first, let's give this one to Joe first. Joe, you came to work for JW3 in a building as a programmer to engage people. What's it been like? What's your role been since we've been closed in the last couple of months?
Hi, everybody. So my role has changed dramatically, and it's about moving our community and transforming our community to a space online, and building communities online, continuing what we do in the building, but ensuring that people are connected with JW3's mission of increasing conversation and lots of different programming online, and still having that connection. And I've been enjoying connecting with loads of people from different backgrounds, from different countries, and extending our reach beyond London.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you've been building a lot of very safe and welcoming spaces online, just as we try and do at JW3. And I've always wanted JW3 to be the wonderful Jewish space where everyone is welcome. And I'm pleased to say that in the last couple of months, we managed to do that digitally as well. And I'm reminded of something I read once from Rabbi Louis Jacobs about Yom Kippur, saying that other cultures, other religions built massive cathedrals, built massive buildings, and what the Jewish community did was they built a day. And I guess he was talking about the architecture of the liturgy, but the idea that we build in time and that we build in shared space, it doesn't have to be bricks and mortar, has really felt true. Chloe, what about you? What's it been like? What's your role been since we closed? You're not hands-on with all those little ones.
So my role has been to continue to develop and create an online community for early years and families, a safe and comfortable space of normality and continuity for them to enjoy crafts and storytelling and Shabbat rituals, and also to create a fictional world, the Wildwood, using puppets here featured.
Who have you got with you there?
So we have Motty Mouse, Susie Squirrel, Omri Owl, Fifi Fox, and this is Bertie the Shabbat as well. So to create this fictional world with relatable stories to help little ones understand a bit more about what's happening in the world right now, easing the minds of their parents, doing that as well, and carers by letting them know that their children's needs are being met and they're being held emotionally and taken care of by their community.
Yeah, thank you, Chloe. And as I said last week, I've got 3 little ones, and they're struggling with what it means to not be able to go to school or to see friends. And some of Chloe's episodes address that really beautifully. Omri, Owl, and Bertie, the Shabbat bat, can't leave their tree. What do they do? So if you would like to share some imaginative play with your children to help work out what's going on, I'd really recommend it. So Joe, that background, why do you have that there? Would you like to tell us?
It's just good for my complexion, to be honest. But
you look rather lovely, yes.
But really, it's about revelation. It's about nighttime. We've got an amazing event coming up next week on Wednesday night before Shavuot. Lots of communities aren't going to be able to connect for the tradition of Tikkun Leil Shavuot, learning through the night. JW3 and Limud are going to be putting on this amazing extravaganza of an exploration into darkness. We're going to have Stephen Burkhoff reading Metamorphosis, David Schneider reading Lord of the Rings in Yiddish. We've got comedians, we've got educators, we've got performers. It's going to be really, really wonderful. It's a cross-communal display of what our community does best, which is just sharing amazing knowledge. It's only £5. It's really exciting. And there's an option to kind of pay more if you want to support JW3, Limud, and our freelance presenters, which we're trying to support at this difficult time. So check out the program. There's plenty more to see, and we look forward to having you there.
Thanks, Joe. And what kind of people might enjoy it?
It's really open. Everyone is welcome, but I'd highly recommend it to parents whose kids will be asleep by that point, to older folks who want to connect with a community, and young people who are looking for a way to connect to something a bit more cultural, a bit more kind of performative, and a way to engage with Judaism in a creative way.
Do I have to be Jewish to come?
No, not at all. We are the Jewish space where everyone is welcome. So all are welcome. Bring your friends, bring your families. Anyone is welcome.
And just one serious point. It starts not too late in the evening, but then goes on. If somebody wanted to come and join just for a little bit, is that okay?
100%. Book a ticket. It's accessible and cheap. You can come for one of the sessions, 2 of the sessions, or the whole night long. We'll be ending with a disco with our Jacqueline Nichols, our colleague, and it will be fantastic.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe. And I'll just echo something that Joe said there. We've priced this at £5 to be accessible, but there are a large number of freelance educators and artists working on it. So if it's something that you would like to come to, have a look at the option to pay a little bit more, because that money will help support us, but the large amount of it will go towards freelancers and educators to support us and Limud, I should say. Right, Chloe, we've got a couple of minutes before we go and hear good news from Richard at the JN. What would you like to tell us about for next week?
So we have the really exciting half-term camp, which is with myself and in partnership with the wonderful team at Infinite Jest Theatre Company. So breaking news, some dinosaur bones have been stolen from the Natural History Museum, and we have to recruit a team of expert young spies and detectives to try and solve this mystery. It's going to be 3 days of mystery solving, drama games, crafts, making friends, and much more. For ages 5 to 11, there'll be 2 parallel sessions of arts and crafts and drama games. And it's a really incredible thing. It's really important to me that children get to still get the chance to experience camp magic, even in this strange time.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to say a goodbye to Joe and to Chloe. You can see them all week long on JW3 TV and at our website. So if you folks would drop out. Oh, of course. Bye-bye, Bertie. Bye-bye, Fifi. Bye-bye, Omri. And hello, Richard.
Hey, Rachel. How are you? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm very good. How are you?
Yes, very well. Good to see you, and thanks for having me back on.
Pleasure. I just say how much we enjoyed the fun day last Sunday, and not just because you were in a bow tie. Congratulations.
Yeah, we had an afternoon of fabulous activities. We had magic, we had art, we had football skills. We had loads of fun for primary school children, and it was co-hosted by my little boy and my little girl, and I was wearing a tuxedo because you can't underdress for these sort of occasions.
Absolutely not. So what would you like to tell us about good news this week?
Well, I think it qualifies as good news simply because of the impetus and importance that we are placing on it. This is our front page this week for people who haven't seen it. Let me just have a look at the screen. There we go. So as you can see, it's changing minds. We have dedicated virtually the entire edition of this week's Jewish News to Mental Health Awareness Week. And I'm starting to think I might be surplus to requirements, because our guest editor this week was none other than Johnny Benjamin. Johnny, I'm getting my job back next week, all right? So I'm just making sure that I've still got a career, because he did such a really good job. For those that don't know Johnny, he's probably the foremost mental health educator and campaigner in the community. He wrote a book called Stranger on a Bridge, where he retold the amazing story of how he was suicidal on Waterloo Bridge back in 2008, and a stranger talked him down, talked him around, changed his mind, thankfully. And now he's got an MBE. He organises a mental health charity called Heads Together with Prince William. He really is one of the most inspiring men I've ever had the good fortune to work with. So he has guest edited this week's paper. And as I said, I think it does qualify as good news, because it shines a light in areas that have been dark for too long. And that's why we've decided to dedicate the issue to it. Oh my God, where do you start? We have been looking with Jamie, who have co-sponsored and partnered with this week's issue, on all sorts of things. They're concerned there'll be, and there was a tsunami of referrals on mental health once the lockdown finishes. We've explored that. We've looked at the strictly Orthodox community, not really self-starters, you'd think, in terms of this subject, but a charity called Bikur Cholim certainly are, dealing with issues in terms of postnatal depression, anxiety, things that affect mental health in the Orthodox community. Because for too long, mental health has been something that would affect your standing in the community. People would judge you unfairly for that. So that's an issue and a stigma that's being broken down. We've got an interview with Mitch Winehouse, of course, the father of Amy Winehouse, about her eating disorders and the drug ordeal that she went through prior to taking her own life. We have an interview with a husband and a daughter talking about how they put their lives together after their mother's suicide back in 2014. We've got an interview with Johnny Daniel's father, Michael, talking about how he coped with his son's situation, and how he says how men are often the ones who suffer in silence. I'm not sure that's right any longer, but certainly, of course, that sort of stoic, stiff upper lip, you'd think potentially, stereotypically, perhaps men would be prone to that. So really, there's a lot going on in this week's issue. I've learnt a lot. I think I probably learnt more than anything else that if you speak about it, it takes away the power of the stigma and the trauma. You feel less isolated, you feel more normalized, and you don't feel alone. So if we've made one person feel that way this week, I'd be very proud.
Great. It's really fantastic to hear, because you've got a huge privilege with a newspaper, a huge voice. It's really fantastic to hear how you've been using it in that way to give voice to others. Last week, you talked us through some of the 40 under 40. We were delighted that one of our trustees and our director of gateways were on it. I don't think any of ours are on it this week, but nonetheless, there must be other wonderful people in the community who do things other than at JW3. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, muzzle top to Lawrence and Rafi for last week. Yeah, I've made sure that it's a JW3 free zone this week. We can't be overdoing it. Also, I have to inform you, just in the interests of fair play, that Raymond is actually on the judging panel. So he only has one vote out of 20 odd. But of course, the chief executive is one of our great and our good who shaped our 40. So yes, this week, let me show you the page again. I've got everything prepared. So this is our 40 under 40 for this week. We go down from numbers 30 to 21. So we're just 2 weeks away from our top 10. I'd like to point out a few people here that I think, look, it's so difficult to pinpoint any one individual or any 40 individuals that are worthy of applause or recognition. And I am acutely aware of the fact that some people find it a little uncomfortable that we rate people in this way. But really, it's only ever meant as a celebration of our achievement and our community. It's not meant in any other way. So in in that atmosphere of celebration. A couple of people here that I know of or work with. Adam Langle-Ben, of course, one of the prime movers in the Jewish labour movement, and a journalist. Dahlia Fleming, who's obviously tearing down boundaries and defining new levels of engagement in the LGBT plus community. Georgia Gould, who is the leader of Camden Council. I mean, really, these people make me think I've done absolutely nothing with my life, quite frankly. They're such go-getters, people who deserve praise and recognition. And again, that's really what the Jewish News is all about, celebrating achievement and celebrating the work that goes on in our community. It is a wonderfully vibrant community. You only have to see the work that you guys are doing on a daily basis now to see that. So tune in again next week oh no, not that, it's Yom Tov next week. Tune in the week after to find out who made the top 10. I'm staying tight-lipped on that, and I'm 49, so unfortunately I don't qualify.
Well, it's just a shame that 40-year-olds aren't in it either. That's all that I can say. So thank you very much, Richard. Yes, we won't be speaking to you next week because it's Shavuot. So we wish you all a Chag Sameach in whatever way you'll be celebrating. We hope lots of you will be celebrating the night before Erev Shavuot with us at Revelation. Please do check out our website for lots more stuff that's going on over the next couple of weeks until we speak to you again. Some of it is paid for, a lot of it is free so that it's accessible. We have new classes and courses, we have In Conversations, we have comedy, we have New Jewish Theatre. In fact, we'll be streaming One Jewish Boy, which is a play that was in the West End, in the middle of a West End run, when it got interrupted by closure due to COVID-19, and you'll be able to see that on our site. The Seret Film Festival is still ongoing. There's just a huge amount. And I'll say again what I did last week. We know it's a difficult time for everybody, but it's hugely important that our cultural organisations do continue to thrive. And I can only echo what Michael Etherton from UK Jewish Film said this week in the Jewish Chronicle. Sorry, Richard. Which is that if you are able to support us at this time, please do. So come to an event, pay a low ticket price, add a little more if you can, make a donation if you can, join and become a member, or just spread the word. So really that's it from me. I wish everybody some peace and some sunshine this Shabbat. So it's Shabbat Shalom from me.
And it's Shabbat Shalom from her.
And it's Shabbat Shalom from JW3 and the Jewish News.